All right, here we go. Let's get this show rolling, as they say. It's Saturday, 10 a.m. Good morning, everybody. Well, 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. All right. Well, welcome to episode 35 of the Conservation Conversation. I'm your host, Eric Crown, and as usual, we're going to be having a show where you can type your comments into Facebook or YouTube, and they will appear on the screen. So we're all hanging out, talking, having a coffee, tea, wine, however your weekend is rolling. So today we're going to be talking about, I think, a topic everybody loves, but everybody's slightly afraid to discuss, which is cacao and chocolate. We're about to get right into that. So I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. Anyway, it is, as I always like to say, it is our world. Let's talk about it. All right, here we go. Episode 35. Welcome, everybody. So I'm very excited that the show is back on. As a lot of you know, I was banned from Facebook, from being able to talk to anybody for a little while. So I'm glad. Let's see. Is this going here? Let's make sure we're still up and running here. Yes. Okay. All right. Here we go. So, hey, everybody that's out there watching. I appreciate you being here. And here we are, episode 35. So we have, hey, Andrea from Romania. Thank you for being on today. So this is an interesting topic because cacao and chocolate, it depends. I mean, if you are kind of a health nut or a vegan, you go for cacao. If you love chocolate, then you love chocolate. But either way, it comes from the same plant. And I'm going to show you that you can change the world by eating more chocolate. I know, it sounds like a good thing, eh? Hey, Molly, how are you? Let's see, headed into town, won't stay long. Sounds good. Be safe outside. And, I have to tell everybody I have been having quite a few side effects recently from my medicine. So I've been really heavily using my preemptive CBD, and I can't even tell you I have these crazy muscle spasms, and the CBD gives me relief. So I just wanted to remind anybody that hasn't tried it yet, you can order from Preemptive for CBD, and you can use my code ERIC30 and get 30% off. So anyway, if you're not on CBD or you're not using it, make sure, I recommend trying it. If you are using CBD, make sure that it is an effective one, because there's a lot of companies that have a lot of claims, and it can be very difficult. Preemptive, I can guarantee you, is made fully organically, and it's made with from an old recipe book that my friend found in his grandfather's stuff, and he used to be a botanist, so they have all these organic recipes that already automatically use like lavender and jojoba and a lot of things that naturally will help, and then he blends it in to his own CBD formula, and I gotta tell you, it's amazing. There's sports cream and droppers. I prefer the droppers, especially with my side effects. So, but anyway, today I just wanted to talk about how chocolate works and what we're gonna do. But first, we like to always start off with our quote, which is, "Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can." And there we go. And that's really important because that quote is all about today. Because, look, the whole world, we can't be responsible for the entire world. We'll feel overwhelmed, and we feel like we're never getting anywhere. We have to remember that we have a lot of power in everything that we do every day. Our revolution through routine changes the world around us. It really does. And one of the ways we can talk about that is by making sure you know how to buy ethical cacao and ethical chocolates. And the more you buy those and the more you eat them, the more those industries continue their ethical practices. So we'll go over all of it here. Hey, Gina, thank you for joining today. It's nice to see you on. That's great. All right, welcome, welcome. Hey, there's Lucky Khan from England. Thank you for joining in. So, and that's the beauty of it is if you're vegan, you're going to be talking about cacao, and if you're not vegan, you're going to be talking about chocolate. But they both come from the same plant, and they both have extreme circumstances that we can change just by eating more of our favorite cacao or our favorite chocolate, as long as they're ethical. So, I was talking to a lot of friends, and they were saying, "Well, what? Oh, hey, Camilla, thanks for joining over here. Awesome, that's good to see you on today." So, when what I want to talk about first of all is just cacao and what is cacao. So, cacao, the cacao and the cocoa. Now, the cocoa is used for chocolates, and the cacao is used for cacao mostly. Now, they both come from the same bean of the Theobroma cacao tree. Now, the problem with this tree is that it is a monoculture. And if people that are familiar with monoculture know what happens is they actually go in and will clear land, grow a monoculture crop, just one crop, and then that land is useless. And then they have to move forward somehow. So this in itself becomes a problem. Now, there's two aspects we're going to talk about. The first one's going to be cacao in South America. And if you've ever had the opportunity to go down to Peru or some of these other areas and see the Amazon area, it is absolutely amazing. I don't know if I have it on here. Let's see. There we go. Turn that volume down. This is while we were on the Amazon, and this is the boat that we were on. That's my computer. I'm actually editing there. And I just want to give you guys an idea of how remote these places are. There's our friend Haley driving the boat, and this boat is where we lived for a few weeks. Now, on the Amazon, there's me pretending to not notice the camera that I'm holding. Anyway, get past that part. That's kind of... Anyway, I just wanted you to see that this is really what most of the Amazon is just rivers. So in this little teeny town of a place called Tamasiascu, it's right off the Amazon, right where we were showing, right down the river. So anyway, and by the way, that is where I worked. I edited all day on that boat while we were driving, unless I was shooting. And the Amazon was incredible. So here we have, there you can see the Amazon River, and off to the side of it is this deforested area. Now, this is the result of cacao. Now, this is why we need to discuss ethical cacao. Cacao is very dangerous. And actually, there's a guy named Dennis Melka here from United Cacao. He was recently indicted for deforestation and other destruction. Now, I'll just explain his basic path of destruction, and we'll go back to the monoculture and it'll all click in. But basically, Dennis Melka runs this thing called United Cacao. Now, Dennis Melka was also on the board of Cacao Ethics. So it's really difficult to know what's happening. But in 2015, the EIA, which is the Environmental Investigation Agency, reported that Melka, the head of a commercial group which founded 25 companies in Peru that were going to do palm oil. And that actually, they clear the land for palm oil as well. And that was down from Tamasiascu. But Tamasiascu is where they grow the cacao. So the nonprofit group estimates that the wood from clearing this land would fill 125 Olympic swimming pools. Now, Dennis Melka's practices in Peru are similar to the ones he had when he deforested the Sarawak area in Singapore. And if you're familiar with that, that is a palm oil travesty. So we get back to it, and what happens is these companies are basically allowed to take out around 20 entire dump truck loads full of lumber before it's considered deforestation. So here you can see giant patches, and this is where they're doing the monocrop. So they burn all these patches of land, and then they grow the monocrop, and then they cannot come back. So it's very problematic for all of nature, and the problem is there's no plan for it afterwards. And like I said, they do say that the problem is there's a legal loophole, or as I always call it, the cancer of the body politic, and it allows the authorities to deforest 20 million hectares of primary Peruvian Amazon rainforest. That means untouched, and then it's considered agricultural land. Now, unfortunately, a lot of this deforestation that comes as a side effect of cacao does end up in all of our homes. There's a big company called Robinson Lumber down in Louisiana that is actually one of the top buyers of the illegal lumber. So people, and this is where it gets complicated because, you really can't stop a construction company and say, what kind of lumber are you putting in my house? So these are some of the issues that come from that. Now, again, that is a side issue of cacao. This all comes from a cacao plant. So all of this deforestation is done under the guise of cacao. They plant the monoculture crop, they harvest it, and then it goes. Now, that is one aspect. So that's the South American devastation. So every time there is an unethical cacao that is out there, is actually creating a deforestation. They estimated, I believe, over $111 million worth of damage done by this guy. So Dennis Melka was, and I got the privilege to go to the cacao plant in Tamasciascu in the Amazon. They were really nice, but they would not let us go onto the land, and they keep everything very hidden, and it's a very small, poor town. So they come in and they offer a couple jobs, and people are very protective of this. But the problem is they exploit the labor. So Dennis Melka had been quoted as saying that they were going to have the cheapest sourced cacao in the world. And this just means that the people are not going to be paid properly. And when I was there, I mean, the town does not still have municipal electricity. It had a couple paved roads, and it was maybe a step up from one or two of the other places, but it was, in general, the same struggle that everybody has. So how do we know what's good cacao? This is where it's going to get interesting. Now, or actually, before we get to, so we will find, I'll show you some solutions before we go to just make sure that if you like cacao, you're eating ethical cacao. But just because you're eating cacao does not mean it's ethical. So, for those of us that are vegan, that like cacao in our acai bowls and in our other superfoods, we know it's a superfood, but make sure, please, that it's ethical, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. Now, the other problem, really, that it comes down to is that the chocolate, on the other hand, more of the cocoa, as it's processed from the same plant, but a slightly different process, comes from child labor over in Africa. And this is actually, in the Ivory Coast, has some of the most amount of child labor. 2/3 of the world's cocoa comes from West Africa, where, according to the 2015 U.S. Labor Department report, more than 2 million children were engaged in dangerous labor in cacao and cocoa growing regions. So, and again, they estimate 60 to 70% of the world's cocoa. So, chocolate lovers, yes, this is, and I understand. I love chocolate. It is actually one of my favorite things. And like I said, before we're going to be done today, I will show you how you can change the world by eating more chocolate. So, this is a real tragedy that's going on down there, because in South America, you have the deforestation and the exploitation of all the people. Hey, Vera, thanks for being on today. Thank you. It's good to see you on here. But then in Africa, you've got this problem where these children are being abused, they are being exploited, they are cocoa's child laborers. And this is a big problem, and this is the major ethic of it. I mean, these kids can be as young as 6 up to 15, and they can work in the fields up to 10, 12 hours a day. Now, I wanted to really point this one out. I was investigating this, and look at this. This is children on a break from work at a cacao farm drinking this white-colored water that was scooped into a bucket from a nearby pond. So, aside from the devastation to these children, you've got this destruction of the entire environment around them. And not that the environment's more important than the children, but what you're looking at right there is the children have to live in that environment. So they're all tied together. You know, poverty and poison go hand in hand, generally, poverty and pollution. So we have to address both of those together. Now, luckily for us, there is a way to do this. There is a way to do this. So, you know, what we can do is basically what I wanted to do is offer a couple solutions that we can stop supporting childhood labor and stop supporting deforestation. And there it is, the yummy chocolates, the white chocolates. So, okay, if you're a vegan, you're going to be eating cacao or dark chocolate, which contains no milks or milk fats. Although dark chocolate could contain sugar, which is sometimes made out of bone char, and so vegans really aren't into that. So vegans, be careful when you're eating at these. Remember, white chocolate always has milk fats in it. So there's a company called the UTZ, and they're actually the largest program in the world for sustainable cocoa. So this is wonderful. So this company has products in 21 countries. Chocolate products with the UTZ name or logo are available in 128 different countries, 128 different areas. Look at that. Certified cocoa was sold to make 29 billion milk chocolate bars. So there is an ethical way of doing this. So the more you can eat the chocolates that come from these places, the more you will save the world. And cocoa is considered certified if it's from one of these 3 nonprofits. All 3 of these have been vetted and proven to be consistent without the loopholes that generally allow certifications to go through. And that is the UTZ, the Rainforest Alliance, and Fair Trade. So if you're buying chocolates, please look for these symbols. And I'm just going to leave these up here for another minute, but please look at these symbols. And I wanted to make it even easier for you. There's actually a scorecard, and I will put this up online so everybody has access to it. But I wanted to show you that these green chocolates, perhaps look, we might not have access to all of these chocolates, right? But look at some of these names here and this scorecard. Now, you can see that a lot of the smaller companies are in the green, which is great. But now, as we go down, we're going to find out that, unfortunately, more of the brands that we're able to recognize may not do that well when it comes to child labor or deforestation. So, Godiva, Ferraro, Hershey, Mars, Nestle, Lindt, all do terrible. Hey, Paula, thanks for being on today. All of these chocolates are unsustainable in many, many different ways. And you can see the organizations that we just spoke about that have gone through to vet which chocolates are safe. Now, the bright side of all of this, I always want to try to make a positive, is that Mars, Ferrero, Godiva, all have said they're going, and I think actually not Nestle, all of those 3 have said that they're going to stop using child labor. So where we come back, that was a 2019 scorecard. But again, the chocolates you eat, remember, there's those children that are being exploited, and as you saw, the conditions that they live in. So we have to be ethical, if we're going to treat ourselves. Unfortunately, and was always a fan of buying like the $1 chocolate bar on my way out of the grocery store. But please, the ramifications of it is, now that we know, we cannot continue the way that we used to, just grabbing the Reese's on our way out, unfortunately. And chocolate is so tasty, and so is cacao. I love cacao. I love the bitterness of it, the dark chocolate. It's all beautiful. And so you don't have to live without it, but the more you can eat organic and certified, good for the planet, good for the people chocolate, the more these companies that have the lower scorecards will change how they do business. So remember, revolution through routine. Chocolate's one of the more fun parts of this. Like, all I'm saying is please eat as much ethical cacao and ethical chocolate as you can. I mean, maybe people don't want to say that for health reasons, but, if it's, the other way is that there's a lot of vegan chocolates. So if you still, you want to have milk chocolate, but you don't want to continue to support that particular industry, you also have vegan chocolates, and they're all healthy. There's vegan white chocolate, there's vegan milk chocolate. Dark chocolate, as I said, mostly is always vegan, but check your ingredients. And cacao, I believe, is always vegan. From the way it's processed, there's no milk used at all. So you don't have to worry about that aspect if you are vegan, but you just do have to worry about where does it come from and is it ethical, the cacao. So United Cacao, by the way, I want to mention Dennis Melka's company was on the public stock exchange. So things don't, even if they appear legitimate, maybe aren't always. You know, he was on the London Stock Exchange. They pulled him off. He was on this ethical stock exchange. They have like a green, I guess, stock exchange. And they actually, he was forced out when they found out all of the deforestation and destruction he was doing. So the good news is the guys are out there, the bad guys are out there, but so are the good guys. They're getting busted. They're getting taken down to court. And every time we eat ethical cacao or ethical chocolate, we are speaking directly to the companies we want to speak to and asking them to stop using child labor and to ask them to stop deforestation. So, you know, I hope, I really hope everybody can get in this and get inspired and go out and have a yummy, yummy chocolate bar today. Now I really want one. Andrea says, I love chocolate, especially the dark one. Perfect, Andrea. That's the healthiest. It's closest to the cacao itself. Now, if you want to be able to, you know, if you're like thinking, all right, you know, this, how am I going to remember all this? It's okay. I always mention this, but I wanted to just show you guys, there's a thing called Boycott. Buycott, and it is here. Now, if you go down, what you can find is you can join campaigns. So now you'll see there's, like, for example, illusion of choice, end animal testing, save and support the bees as much as you can. So if you want to click animal testing, what you're going to do is find a series of campaigns that will register every time you go in and you use, what you do is you scan a PCU code on the back of a product, put it on your phone, and then it'll tell you if it matches your ethics. So if you're worried about child labor, you can put that in Boycott. If you are worried about pollen and products that injure bees, if you're worried about orangutans, if you're worried about fish, whatever you're worried about, all of us have different ethics, and that's okay, but we need to shop according to our ethics, whatever they may be. Boycott allows you that ability, and also allows you the ability to look at other products. For example, if you're vegan and you want to go buy some Oreos, you're going to scan the PCU code and you're going to find out that it's using palm oil that is coming out of the Indonesian rainforest that is extremely dangerous and actually killing orangutans. So you have that information in front of you, and what you want to do with it is what you want to do with it. And, can do with it as your ethics choose. Everybody, like I said, lives by a different set of ethics, and we just have to make sure that whatever we're taking into our bodies is clean and healthy, because it's important. We are part of our environment, so it's important for us to be healthy, and that we can make sure that our environment is healthy. Because it's just like the quote said, we can just all start where we are, use what we have, and do what we can. So I'm excited. Get out there, buy some ethical chocolate, and enjoy it. So thanks everybody for joining today. One thing I forgot to ask earlier on is I do have in the comments, you're going to find my YouTube channel. And I'm trying to grow the YouTube channel. As you know, I was banned on here for a little while. So please go to my YouTube channel, click the subscribe button. You won't miss any videos. I've got a lot more projects coming up soon, and some of them might be blocked here on Facebook. So pop over to the YouTube channel, and it's up here in the chat. You'll find it listed there. And just come on over, click subscribe. Please interact with any of the videos. It helps build our voice and gives conservation a bigger voice inside of the YouTube community. As of right now, we still need to find a little bit more of a spot. So thank you everybody for being on. Thanks Michelle, thanks Andrea, and I really appreciate everybody being here and talking today about some of the yummiest stuff in the world, ethical cacao and ethical chocolates. So, as I always say, when you run into somebody that totally disagrees with you, it's a wonderful time to have a discussion and get in there. And as I always say, it's our world. Let's talk about it. So I will see everybody. I'm going to start doing conservation coffee Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 a.m. California Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I'll see you guys for some nothing but great, good, positive eco news Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we, of course, will continue with our traditional podcast here every Saturday at 10 a.m. All right, thanks. It was great to see everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. It's our world. Keep talking about it.